Okay, let's take a look here. So we've got Napoli, Petro, Shimakaze, Prince Van Orange, and Moscow looks like. Yes. So standard deployment, what I'm working on is moving two dynamic teams out to the flanks. Obviously, you can see my stuff. So what I would like to do is see boats move to the outside at both caps. Now, A is a little bit weird because normally you're going to have some kind of radar here. Somebody's going to push out wide because they get this island here and you don't. And then usually BB is usually going to play this way, looking for shots across here and then negating whoever tries to move through here. So the north spawn on this map is kind of crappy. The ultimate goal, what you want to do, is not allow these guys to just push in here uncontested or push up through here. DDs are usually going to duel through these spaces, and the cruisers are going to kind of duel out here unless they try some big in-run right through the middle, and they just have to push real hard. So typically what you want to do is you want to move along the sea line, whatever your concealment. Imagine that a DD is going to try to push across here where he's got plenty of coverage through here, and he's going to try and spot whatever's moving through this area. That's his job. So you want to try to mitigate their spotting for as long as possible. And if that means that you need to track a little bit further north before you come south, then that's something to do. The other thing is that you're relying on the Shimakaze, who's kind of laid out of the gate, or your DD rather, to get out here and do the same thing for you. To get out here, throw torpedoes down towards sea, and to spot something for you to shoot at. And so that you can see, is it too hot? Is it too, can I push there? Can I not push there? So me knowing that A was probably going to be a little hot, I started to gravitate towards A. Started to develop. They capped C, which is standard. There's the radar. There's a Nevsky playing out. Now, I saw the Nevsky first, and I thought, well, they must be playing defensive. Because why would this Nevsky already be turned out and away? Unless that's just kind of how the Nevsky, it plays better at that angle. I'm not sure. But you got the Des Moines here. He can radar all this area. Nevsky's got 12K radar, so he can cover up to probably here. So I was thinking that this was going to be defensive side and this was going to be the pushing side. I was a little concerned. Now, again, Petro pushes way down off into here for no reason, in my opinion. The cruisers should stay up here and not commit to an engagement through these islands until they know what's out here in front of them. And that's the DD's job. So here, Petro, to my knowledge, didn't even deploy a radar, which he didn't. So as he moves forward, there's just no reason for him to be here. And I know exactly this is Maestro. And Maestro tends to be out of position quite a bit, unless, it's a push down a singular line. There's really no reason for him to be here. If the cap was here, then he could come up here and radar this area. But really, at this point, there's no reason for him to be here. He can't see anything, and he's going to get spotted. So this is not where you want to be. You really wanted to push out here towards this island, and by the time you're almost here, your Shimakaze should be spotting stuff. Because what's going to happen is someone's going to get spotted. They're going to deploy radar. They're going to see him. They're going to shoot at him, and then you're going to see everybody, or vice versa. So at this point, if Petro was going to push all the way down here, it should have been to do a clearing radar to clear this area to see if there was a DD pushing through this area. Instead, he doesn't. So now what we start to see, Smolensk, Des Moines, Nevsky, Stalingrad. Well, the issue that you have is that our gearing, Volgar, is not real fast. And now he's got Des Moines and Smolensk on him. Prince Van Orange doesn't really have angles except for Smolensk. Moscow has no angles on anybody. And I'm out of position. I've got a big island in the way because I was waiting to see which way this was going to develop. So gearing gets chewed up. Petro's seen, so he gets engaged. And now what he's doing is he's turned and he's cutting across your nose, so you have to slow and stop, robbing you of momentum. At this point, really, what you'd want to do is you'd want to hook north and start to move out to negate this Napoli. And the odds are there's a DD out here. I can't remember exactly what happened. We're gonna look at it. Gearing's getting chewed alive. Prince Van Orange is at a weird angle. I don't particularly care for the Dutch boats because all they want to do is usually park in islands, or they're kind of static and throw planes. And yeah, they have decent guns and stuff, but they're more focused on throwing their planes and less focused on shooting their guns. And so I tend to not like the Dutch boats as much, but that's a personal preference. So Smolensk takes a little bit of damage, but he can heal that. Des Moines is anchored in on his island and can radar the entire area. Gearing dies quickly. Moscow finally comes around this corner, and now Des Moines has only one target to shoot at, to Moscow. Well, in this gunfight, the Des Moines should win that engagement. He's got twice the reload. Moscow's around 9 seconds. His is around 4.5. Smolensk is also here to the outside. There's no longer anything to screen against him. I don't have DPS. I can try to shoot him. I think I probably did. But I'm not going to be able to kill this guy effectively. And there's two other cruisers out here. Ineffective torpedoes, and you guys are bottled up here so far at B. So as you start to develop, now torps start to come across. Petro, what did he do? Okay, you cut across his tail and he went around the outside. And what happened was that you just got unlucky and took the torps that were meant for him. You smoked defensively, which is a good call. Prince Van Orange starts to go defensive here. We've forced Smolensk off the cap, but Des Moines is here. And the only one that can stop him is Moscow, unless we start to push around. But because you've lost your destroyer, now Smolensk has spotting advantage, and you still have two other cruisers. And the Van Orange does not do very well in the push roll. So he's not in a great spot. Moscow didn't push around the corner. Gearing didn't do a great job here at A. So you have kind of a stalemate here. Now, you still technically have a weight advantage here, but the BB is not spotted. So we don't know where he's at. So Napoli and Hayate pop up here. The Napoli is essentially blunting the Shimakaze's advance, and both of you guys are pretty much defensive. So Petro pops his radar at absolute maximum range, which is helping the Shima, but the Shima's not going to take the gunfight with the Hayate. He can't. The Hayate is basically a gearing for the Japanese. So he's going to eat the Shimakaze alive if they stay in a prolonged gunfight. Plus Napoli is sitting right there with secondaries and everything else. So this fight is not doing well. Again, Van Orange is defensive. He doesn't have line of sight on Des Moines. These other two boats are not there, and this guy is loose in the field. Moscow stops because he's not going to push into all of this, and I don't necessarily blame him, but you just have a rough situation over here, and this is rough as well, primarily due to poor positioning. Not your fault, really, but the general gist is if you're either going to push down the 7 line or right here through the 8 line, or you're going to come out and in, or you're going to come out here somewhere, notice what's down here, and if it's a whole lot of crap, then what you're going to do is play defensive back north of B, and you're going to use this island as kind of a screen, and they've got to move through that stuff to get to you. And while they're trying to cut you off, again, they have to come out in the open to shoot at you, and they're robbing themselves of gun angles, and there'll be visibility. This is a crappy spot to try to gunfight through, but you push through it or you defend against it. So the fight continues here. Hayate makes his gunfight, accelerates and moves away. Poor Shimakaze is just under gunfire and can't take that amount of punishment from the Napoli. You got turned around, took the torp, smoked, and crashed in the island, which is natural. I mean, it happens. And so now you got to try to reverse and then get out of there. Petro pretty much skids to a stop here and is going to shoot at Napoli while providing little support. Nevsky reappears here at the far angle, drawing gunfire. They have a cap. They have kill advantages. All they have to do is just keep us off of A and not drop dead anywhere else on the map, and they should be fine. Napoli is re-engaging Petro. Once he notices gunfire from you, he goes defensive, smokes, and moves away because, again, he doesn't have to come fight you. They have they have point advantage, and they've got position advantage. Hayate's still here loose somewhere. You can't see. Petro can't see anything but the Napoli, who's probably going to disappear in a moment. He does. And now we're stuck over here. I have to avoid the Van Orange because he's turned into me so sharply. So I'm trying to move south into A to put radar pressure on the Smolensk here, knowing full well that I'm fixing to take combined gunfire plus torpedoes as I do that. In reality, what should happen is that the Moscow should move with me, and the Van Orange should already be making a turn to come back south with me. So now you finally get up to speed and are starting to move around the island. Petro's still kind of trundling along here to the outside. And at this point, there's really not much you can do except if y'all got together and you got a heal and you push south. And with his radar and your gunfire ability, you should be able to push these two guys back out. Because this gunfight is not going to work for us. Because Moscow's not pushing out of cover and the Van Orange is in the wrong position and can't do any shooting. So I deploy radar and start to push south, but the Smolensk decides to start engaging, which is natural because it's 4v technically 1. Because Moscow can't be shot by this guy for the most part. Stalingrad's shooting at him, but soon I will become the focus because I'm the closest and most immediate threat, and Moscow will cease to be. Petro continues his turn out to the north, dodges some torpedoes. You get a heel in, start to trail along with him. But at this point, he's not really giving any instructions. I'm tied up in my gunfight over here, and it's just not going real well. So the Napoli's going to take the advantage. He's going to go ahead and press his advantage because, again, they're up on point. So the longer he maintains C, the higher percent chance that they win. And if he can knock out one or both of you, or get you so low, or knock out the Petro so that you have to duel the Shimakaze or the Hayate alone, that's a win for him. So if he can trade with that and damage you bad enough, there's a very high chance that he can kill you both in his current position. He has an island for cover. The Petro's at poor position and fixing to have an island blocking him. He's got secondaries and torpedoes. The Petro's in a bad spot. So Napoli does a little shooting, loses line of sight, gets a heel in. Now Petro again is out of position, no line of sight, I don't believe, on that island. And now he's got just you to duel with, and secondaries are going. Hayate should be pushing up behind him. We'll continue looking through y'all's engagement. Petro goes to engage. You go to smoke towards him. Now, one of the things about smoking is you have to remember your gunfire smoke penalty. So when you're, for the caliber of your guns, there's so many kilometers of range that you can still be spotted when you fire in smoke. So I think the Napoli's guns are like 9 or 10 inches. I don't know what the millimeters are. Millimeters for naval guns is stupid. But anyway, beside the point. When you fire your guns in smoke, they're going to see you at that range. 8 is like a minimum. 8 kilometers is like a minimum. But sometimes it can be like 8 to 12K is the distance at which someone can see you firing in your smoke. So you deploy smoke, and if you don't shoot, then you are safe. But because Petro can see him, then you can see him. And your secondaries can fire, and you won't be detected. But he can still guess where you are. So you could use smoke to close the distance, and then or start to turn away and wait for him to give you some angles. Like if you made a hook through here and waited for him to continue on his track here, or if he went to try to put his nose onto you, gives Petro broadside, or if he continues this track, you could push past him and try to get his broadside. But if you're going to do this, you either need to be going away, stop shooting, go away from him, and stay dark in your smoke till you can get a heel off, or use this as you wait, don't shoot your primary guns, and wait for an opportune moment to engage them. That way, because when you shoot, you're going to be spotted. Now, if he dies, then you're going to be undetected again, as long as this guy didn't have line of sight on you when this guy died. Because, again, he can see you. Radio tells this guy where you are. So if he can see you, this guy pushes out, you shoot at him, he can see you, then this guy can see you too. And he'll have line of sight until something blocks his line of sight. So what ends up happening here is that, again, you fired, you're close, the Hayate engages you, Napoli dies, which is good. And then you die to the Colombo that finally appears. Yeah. This Colombo sat in the south of the map doing nothing like the entire game. Of course, he didn't have to. He finally appears and shoots and kills you. No one even can see him. And now Petro has Hayate to the outside. Colombo is here. And gunfire from something else. He's pretty well pinned in there and dies. On the other flank, Van Orange goes defensive. Gearing dies. I have to turn out with Van Orange till we see what's going on. I notice that everything is going to hell in a handbasket, so I have to go in to put pressure against the small one to keep him off of A. So I radar and push forward. He gets off the cap, but then all 4 boats start shooting me. Van Orange is still moving away, doesn't come back. Moscow reverses, so now I'm sole focus, so I've got to turn away. So I get into cover. Oh, Colombo popped up for me. That's what happened. He finally appeared and shot me. Stalingrad kills me from across. I was almost into cover. Van Orange is still out defensive, moving away. Moscow's still hunkered on his island here. And so this is just number one. The takeaway here is going to be number one, this is poor positioning on the part of you guys as cruisers. Not your fault. Petro should have known better than that. Maestro should have said, this is what I wanted, was you to move out here, Shimakaze to cut through here, and this is what I should have said, and this is where I'm learning to call. Shimakaze should move through here, spot this line, and then the two cruisers should move to the outside until they know what's down here. If it's bigger and you can eat it, attack. If it's not, defend. Over here, the gearing needs to get on the cap, touch the cap, and start to bounce away. Moscow needs to move to the outside and begin to eventually, as soon as possible, be aggressive. Really, these two boats should have switched positions. Van Orange should have been to the outside. Moscow should have been to the inside. Again, this is my fault as caller. To where he could kind of park on the island and do his stuff with the planes. Moscow could spot things and keep this defended, but you need a little more aggressive DD as well against the Smollett. Everyone's scared to death of the Smollett. He's only got 2 guns. They're fast firing. He's got radar and a heel. He's not invincible. He can't take everything. So need a little more aggression on the gearing's part. These two boats need to switch positions for radar coverage of A. But really what I wanted was actually these two boats to move to the outside and then attack downward, thus negating the position of this cruiser here. But we didn't do that. We just came here, and then we came here, and it went to hell in a handbasket pretty quickly. But sometimes that's just what happens. Also, the disposition of the enemy was weird. Des Moines was here, but Nevsky was here. I don't know why he was right here. Maybe their Colombo was AFK, and they were worried he might get torped out or something. And Stalingrad went way outside. Of course, his detectability is high. And then he comes up, hits this island, and it just went to hell over here. But that's the basic gist of what was going on here. I hope that helped you.